Dear Clash Guards, I confess my emotions have been a mess. Cause you changed everything we ever knew. From witches to poison and the Queen walked too. Whoa, I've been wrong, I was wrong. Been at town all night, way too long. Getting hogs and Valkyries. I'll push that button and believe in you again.
Welcome to episode 106 of Pineapples and Thorns. I'm Kat, and T is with me today, and we also have two very special guests, Darth Yoda, leader of the Sons of Guns Empire, and the one and only Mr. Fuzzy Beavernuts, king of the Rated. Welcome, guys.
Hello, hello.
Hello, thanks for having us.
Hello.
We're going to just jump right into that CFF news, live with Darth Yoda. Take it away.
Hey, excellent. Yeah, I've got a good bit to cover this week on the podcast. So up first, we've got the Clone Wars. Signups are closed, and the teams have already been assigned. That is actually going to take place tomorrow. But boy, that came up pretty quick, didn't it? It was funny because Fuzzy and I are on the same team, and when our team was posted, we looked at the roster and we were like, "Oh crap, we are so stacked. This thing is going to be over quickly." And so I got really nervous about it, and I reached out and got the roster from the other squad, and that team is stacked as well. So I think this is going to be a super fun competitive war tomorrow for everybody. All right, up next, we're coming up on a huge milestone in the CFF. We are actually getting ready to hit 2,500 members, which is huge. I mean, I can't believe how much we've grown in the last couple of years. We're currently, last time I checked was probably like 2 hours ago, we were at 2,486. So
Wow.
my guess is, with the amount of people that we get on a daily basis, we're going to hit 2,500 probably today or tomorrow. And to celebrate, both T and I are going to be donating gold passes out to two lucky winners to celebrate the milestone. So really excited about that.
Amazing.
All right, up next, we've got our friends over in the Brits, good friends of the Sons of Guns for sure, and CFF member. They're actually on an incredible win streak, and I think I've actually covered their win streak a couple of times on podcasts because it's really impressive, but it still continues. So they're currently at 62 straight wins in that clan. So that's just amazing. So shout out to those guys over there. What a great thing, great result. All right, up next we had the Rated and Redthorn accidentally got into a random war with each other. Didn't try to match on purpose. It just randomly happened, which is kind of hilarious. So that war actually ended in a perfect tie on both sides. It was during when the event troops were live, so pretty much everybody was getting perfect wars. But that was fun. I was able to hop into both clans and have some chatter and some banter, and that was really fun to see. But ended up in a tie. So congratulations to both teams there. There really was no loser, so that's exciting. All right, up next, we've got SOG's EOS results. So like many of you know, we do a end of season push every single month in SOG. We call it the SOG end of season push, but in reality, it's a lot of our friends come over from all of our various clans that are, really tight with SOG, to help push us up, as far as we can. And we actually got really high this month. I was surprised with the event troops because the Legend League's cup counts were significantly down, over prior months. But we ended up finishing 7th in the United States and 61st globally. So that's just, wow.
That's
I mean,
incredible.
we're up there with, with the clans where everybody's getting paid to stay in those clans. And for us, it's just SOG and our friends. So pretty exciting. All right. Up next, just want to give everybody a brief update on esports and how we did in the Worlds tournament. So it's been a bit of a fiasco. I would love to say a lot about it, but I'm just going to kind of keep it brief and tell everybody what happened. We ended up finishing out of the open ladder qualifier. We finished at 139th in the world. So in order to make the next stage of the qualifier, they take the top 128 teams. But what happens is teams ultimately get disqualified because they have dirty accounts or whatever. And that number is usually around 20 teams get disqualified. And in prior years, they would just simply take, the next team up on the ladder. So we had thought we had made it comfortably and that we were going to be moving on to the next round. Subsequently, Supercell put out an official announcement and the official list of qualified teams. and we were on it. So we all celebrated. We were super happy. Even Fox put out a CFF announcement for us, and we thought we had made it, right. I mean, how could you not? We were on the official list that Supercell had put out. Well, come to find out, they had made a mistake, and this year they weren't planning on adding any additional teams to replace the ones that got qualified or disqualified. So we were end up told that we did not make it after all. So we were obviously very upset. We couldn't believe it, but I could say a lot more about it, but I think I'm.
Yeah, it
All
sucks.
right. All right. Yeah, I know. We'll get them next month. All right, moving on.
Yep.
So we talked about it briefly right when we were all just sitting here chit chatting, but we do a 1v1 monthly in the SOG family, and the winner this month was Chandan, and he's here in the audience. So congratulations. He had to get through a whole boatload of killers to win that honor. So great job, Chandan. Okay, up next we have Kent Farmhouse is actually going to be expanding again. They are going to be reopening one of their. I guess they had and Kat, you probably know more about this than I do, but I'm assuming they used to have a sister clan called Kent Farmhouse 2.0, right?
Yeah, it was K Farmhouse 2.0. Yeah.
Yep. So they're actually they're gonna be expanding and reopening that clan again. So really excited for them, and I love seeing successful CFF clans out there. So this is great news. All right, up next we have the SOG versus the rated scrimmage. This is a tradition that we actually started last month, and basically what we do is we take both the main roster for CWL SOG and the main roster of the rated, and we do a scrimmage the day before CWL, just to kind of get some practice in. Of course, it's SOG and the rated, so there's the whole bragging rights thing and all of that. What I can tell you, and I know Fuzzy would concur with this, boy, both teams were rusty, man. Like it really did. I just think it was the event troop hangover, and both teams. I know neither team played up to our capabilities, which was good. I mean, that's why we do this scrimmage so that we could look at it and go, all right, crap, man, we've got to do a lot of FCs. We got to get some practice in before the real thing starts. So it was definitely beneficial to both teams. Last month, the rated beat SOG. This month, SOG was able to edge out the rated. So right now we're sitting at 1-1. So we'll see what happens next month. Okay. And then lastly, there's going to be a new segment that I'm adding to the CFF news, and this is going to be called the DY Oh Lord of the Week. All right. So what is this? So in SOG, pretty typically at some point throughout the day, somebody is going to make me say, "Oh Lord." It is usually reserved for a highly intelligent person that will do something like ask a question that had just been answered one line above, or not, or say the day before CWL that they forgot about the CWL signups and were looking for registers. So they inevitably get the DY of the day. So we're going to start doing the DY of the week. So who gets the honor this week? It is going to be my friend Bo in SOG. Now, what did Bo do? Well, just like I'd mentioned, the day before CWL, Bo says, "Hey, I forgot to sign up." Now, this is something that is a little bit irritating to the likes of myself and T, because T will literally post the signups like 3 to 4 days after CWL ends. And then we repeatedly send out reminders throughout the month to sign up for CWL. So when somebody says, "Oh, I forgot that we had CWL signups," they deserve the DY of the week. Now, the DY Lord of the Week. Now, what I would tell you is that if anybody receives this honor, it's actually because I do like them. Because if they got the DY Oh Lord of the Week and I didn't like them, they would probably be clanless. So congratulations, Bo. Kat, that's all I got this week. I know it was a mouthful.
That's a lot, but some amazing stuff in there, and always looking forward to hearing what's going on around the family. So thanks very much, Yoda.
Got it.
So we did a little bit of chatting before we started recording about what we've been up to. T's going on an extensive bike ride tomorrow.
Yep, the 5 borough. It's only 40 miles. It's not crazy. I'm not doing a century ride or anything, but
That's not crazy. No. Fuzzy and Yoda, anything exciting happening?
Go ahead, Fuzzy.
Go ahead, Yoda.
Oh, okay. No, guys, I live actually a pretty boring life. Like, I don't do a lot of stuff outside of work besides, play Clash of Clans, hang out with all of my friends, all of you guys, and I enjoy motorcycling. But yeah, there's as far as like what's going on personally with me, it's not a ton. I'm enjoying esports. I've been playing, doing some esports with Aki's team, as a supplement to my main team, which is this CFF. So that's been fun to get to know all those folks over there. Some really good people. And we've got CWL this week. It's always a huge deal in SOG. So just looking forward to how we do.
Excellent. Fuzzy?
Yeah, so my semester just ended. Well, technically the last day's Monday, but I don't really have to go since I took my exam yesterday. So that's fun. I get like a little 3-week break until summer classes start. So with that extra time, I might dabble in some esports in between now and then. I play an adult league soccer team every Sunday, so I love doing that when I can. We're expecting some rain and thunderstorms this weekend, so our game might get canceled. But pretty much other than that, it's just same old, working, schooling, and clashing.
Excellent.
What about you, Kat? What have you been up to?
Me? Oh, I don't know. Clash and podcast and work and all kinds of other stuff, but it's pretty dull. I lead a pretty dull life. So,
Welcome to my world.
exactly. All right, let's talk a little bit about Clash of Clans. Last month we had the Gold Rush event. Did you guys like it? Did you find it too difficult, or was it not difficult enough? Yoda?
Yeah, so I actually thought it was a neat idea. I really liked that it got everybody involved. I don't think I'd seen the level of engagement in Clash of Clans in a very long time that I saw during the event. And I think that was the intention. I thought it was awesome. I thought that the rewards they gave away for it were great. We did a bunch of fun stuff in the SOG family, like for instance, our two lower clans, Loot and Grind and Han Shot First. They had a competition going on amongst themselves to see who could max it the fastest. And their activity was flying around all over the place. And then we ended up giving a gold pass away as well to the person who, once they maxed, had contributed the highest amount of gold. And that person was it was Digbo T, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Digbo, he crushed it, man. I don't even remember what his total was, but it was high.
Yeah, I mean, it was like high that it didn't even seem physically possible. Like I'm sure he had to take a shower after that was over. Like it was so. But yeah, I thought it was a super fun event. I thought that it really brought a level of engagement, and I hope to do it again. I think it was a win all the way around.
Fuzzy?
Yeah, I mean, I think this Gold Rush event really gave people that weren't in Legends League a chance to shine and contribute to the clan, because most of the people in Legends League can only contribute 10 million a day or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, if you weren't in it, you could. I mean, we had people that were up at 50-60 million a day almost. It was great to see. It took us till about, I think, 3 days left to finish in the rated. But those first few levels went by, I mean, super fast. They were done within the first day or two. It was crazy. I liked it. I thought it was probably the right amount of difficulty. But I think if they didn't remove troop training time, it would have made it so much more impossible. Or I don't think impossible would have been the word, but it would have been way harder.
T, what about you? What do you think?
I think this is like the perfect example of what Supercell needs to do more of. It drove engagement, like Yoda said. It was fun and the right amount of challenge, like Fuzzy said. And to me, the crucial thing was it didn't affect your personal progress. And from hearing through the grapevine and talking to some people who have more access than I do, apparently the initial idea was that you were gonna have to donate your gold, like as in it would take it out of your storage and put it into the event. And I was so happy that people spoke up and said, do not do that, and that this is the version that we got, where it was like you didn't have to sacrifice some of your own ability. So Digbo, for example, I think he hit like 1 billion gold. Like he hit some insane amount over the total event, but he kept the builder free and was able to finish a ton of his walls. So he didn't pay a penalty for doing it. He got something out of it in addition to contributing to the clan. And I think that was like the perfect decision. If we got more events like this, like they could do Elixir, they could do Dark Elixir, they could do Gold, they could do whatever they want, like stuff like this where the rewards great? No. They were fine. Some of us got good skins. Some other ones of us got a bunch of blue ore for no reason. So like, I don't even think the rewards are the problem, right? The rewards were fine. They were what they were, but like getting to see the scoreboard, not paying a penalty for it. Like, Fuzzy said about, calibrating it to the fact that we actually had the no troop training before it went live. Like 100% Fuzzy's right. Like if this had gone live last year, this event would have been panned. Everybody would have been so mad. And to be honest, I think one of the big things is also the change in matchmaking where we have like the cloned bases, because I didn't like normally when we see these kinds of like really high activity events happen, we see a corresponding tank in loot availability, and I didn't really see that in this. Like I think I only farmed like 40 million in the event. Like I'm just kind of on cruise control, so I was kind of fine. But I was still getting like 2 million gold, 2 million elixir, 15,000 dark elixir offers pretty regularly, which is rare. Usually when we have these like, like Hammer Jam, for example, last November, you had to do like 30 necks to find like a decent base by the time that event was like really cooking. And it's like, that's not fun. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to spend minutes not playing the game. So I felt like this was like a really good, like everything just kind of came into line. Everything was like balanced right. And if they could do something along this line every month, I think it would do gangbusters for their engagement numbers for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of people that normally don't farm, and they re-engaged and did a lot of farming, and actually they told me they were enjoying farming. Gave them a reason to farm besides just upgrading stuff. So I think if that was their purpose, to sort of try and re-engage some of the community, then they succeeded.
I think the point of all of these events is to have people playing and having fun and like not having people go to Reddit and just whine and complain and cry, right? Like I don't think I saw any complaint posts on Reddit about the event, which is like might be the first time ever. People managed to complain about free stuff. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I might have missed it. I don't check every day, but yeah, I didn't see anything.
We talk about, we feel that they should do it again. Is it something that they could perhaps build into clan games to make clan games a little bit more interesting for people? Because I know a lot of people are kind of bored of that.
Just put ore in clan games.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, Kat, you've said it like I think every time we've talked about what they could do to improve clan games or income, and it's like just put ore in clan games. People care about it again. Like I think there's a ton of things they could do to make clan games more interesting and more engaging. I think just making it so you don't have to use troops you don't want to use would be a big difference. Like stop with the use archers and win attacks. You know what I mean? Like it's just like these random things that nobody wants to do, but
or triple a town hall 7 or lower.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's fun. That'll just sit in our challenge for the entire week of clan games.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, what if they just replace clan games with an event like this? I mean, we're all in agreement, right? Which is rare that all four of us are going to agree on something so so heavily. And it was a win-win all the way around. And we all also agree that clan games is stale and people, other than the rewards, people don't like to do it. So what if they just completely replaced it with an event of this style every month? What do you guys think?
I think we should, why stop there? Just go ahead and replace Builder Base with a giant ore mine that just spits out ore.
Listen,
never mind the gem mine.
Yeah.
No clan games, no need for a Builder Base.
The only reason why I would say no to that, and it's not on its merits, right? Like on the face of it, I would say yes, but knowing Supercell, I do not want to remove an event that gives us guaranteed one book and guaranteed gems and other accoutrements every single month for something that's going to be like chests. You know what I mean? Like the chests are fine when it's like in addition to the baseline of what we've gotten. So like right now you can fairly regularly predict how many books you're going to get based on whether you buy Gold Pass or not and all that stuff. So like anything that reduces that guaranteed minimum amount of progression that people get, especially clan games where it's free, I'm hesitant to say let's get rid of it. But I think there's tons of stuff like you could do like a version of it where it's like there's new challenges for clan games this month and there's a global leaderboard for who can get the most clan game points or whatever. Like that would be something to me. Yeah, where it's like you don't necessarily get additional rewards. Like maybe you just get 3 chests for everyone in the clan for every, I don't know, 40,000 clan points you get above the baseline, you know, where
Yeah.
like that stuff like that would be cool, where it's like building onto clan games, not changing the baseline of the rewards that you get and not like messing with that economy, but you know, giving us more stuff, I think would be
Yeah.
great.
Well, I think one of the problems they ran into with the Gold Rush event was that because they had prizes of Starry Ore for the top earning clans, apparently there was a lot of cheating going on, breaking terms of service. It's a lot of clans got disqualified before they announced the actual winners. So every time
Yeah.
they do something like this.
Any
It's-
idea what they did to get disqualified? Like, because
Oh.
that's what I'm unclear about.
I thought it was like bot accounts that were just like basically constantly raiding.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
probably some farm bots going on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know this is kind of off topic from the event, but one thing I've noticed since the update is I have been burning through raid medals, but
Yeah.
I have hardly gone through any gems. I haven't bought gems since that update.
Yeah, same. My gem
Yeah, me
total
either.
is just like going up and up and up, and I you know, I have ADHD. I sometimes forget to do things. I forgot to do my raid attacks last week, and I was out of raid medals by like Monday afternoon. It was
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
like,
it's rough.
yeah. Especially if you attack like in off hours, like in Sons of Guns, if you request anytime during like main EST hours, you're like instant filled. But you know, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do some attacks, and it's like 2:00 in the morning, and there's nobody on. It's like, oh well, yeah, of course I have to self donate, like nobody's awake, and it's wild because you could just do 10 attacks in a row with no delay, and you're like, oh, all my raid medals are gone. Shucks.
Yeah, well, especially if you're, buying any of the other things in the shop with raid medals, like Starry Ore or something, it burns through it pretty quick.
Yeah.
All right,
definitely.
let's talk a little bit about the event during April. They had a collaboration with the WWE. We had some temporary troops. There was the giant Kane, the disarmer, and the yeeter. Did you guys make good use of them? Did you like having them in the army camps to defend? Yoda?
Yeah, so look, these things were completely broken, right? I have a lot of thoughts on it. So to answer your question, I did use them, and the only reason that I did was because they were allowed in the latter stage of the World Tournament, which was an absolutely ridiculous decision to do. I mean, that pretty much took the competitiveness out of that latter stage completely, because the troops were so broken. So because every single person was using them in the worlds, and it really came down to a time based meta during that period. I was forced to use them myself, so I did. And especially the other troops, they were broken, but the one that was just completely overpowered was the disarmer, right? And we've had troops in the past like Lava Loon and stuff like that. That was definitely OP, but you had to implement some sort of a strategy to triple with it, right? You had to like zap the air defenses or whatever it was that people were doing back then. With the disarmer, you literally just dropped everything in a corner and it would triple. Like just everything, just dumped it all in a corner, and then you would throw a Yeti bomb at the town hall, and it was a guaranteed triple every single time. That is too broken. So right after we were eliminated from Worlds, I completely stopped using them. I was like, this, I know that my Legend season is gonna suck this month, which is another thing that they shouldn't allow these troops in, but that neither here nor there. And I just stopped using them completely because I wanted to make sure that I stayed sharp, not only for the upcoming CWL that we're right in the middle of, but also esports as well. I'm okay with them having broken troops in the game, but they really must limit it to a much smaller period of time. Like I think we had these troops all month, right? Or at least most of the month. I mean, that's crazy. Like that's an entire month where the game is broken. But there's only 12 months in a year, and if they do this, three times a year, I mean, that's 3 months out of the year where the game is completely busted. So I think they need to limit it down to maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks at most, because I know people out there enjoy them. They like the feeling of being a Clash god for a week or a month or whatever it is. But it's too long. Like they really have to limit it down. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. What do you guys think?
Fuzzy?
So admittedly, I did use them. It was nice to kind of turn your brain off and just triple really easily. But also, I don't mind when they have like really strong event troops in the game. I just did not like the army camp change. To me,
Right.
like the fact that it wasn't in wars, but it was still in Legend League and regular attacks, you were basically playing two different games, which I didn't like. I mean, just make it consistent. Either keep it in wars and legends and multiplayer, or just don't change the army camps at all. That like you couldn't run a normal attack almost without just getting wrecked by the disarmers. I mean, you had to run the event troops if you wanted to triple in Legend League just to keep up.
Yeah, 100%. I know the first few times, I went to do a war attack, it really messed me up because I was expecting to see the defending troops in the camps. And then I remembered, oh, no, right, they're not in war, so I don't have to think about those. But it was a definite impact between how you hit in war and how you did your regular Legends attacks or whatever. T?
I would have been fine if they're. I'm sorry, T, but I would have been fine if they were in multiplayer, just regular multiplayer matches. But keep them out of Legends and keep them out of wars, because I mean, it changes the way you have to play for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like Supercell giveth and Supercell taketh, right? Like they hit a home run with the gold event. This one, not so much. Maybe it was a single, right? It was fun for a little while. It kind of overstayed its welcome. I think the defending thing, that whole situation was a misstep. I just don't think it worked the way that Supercell maybe intended. It was just like weird because you would want to move your army camps, but the army camps are such a big building that like nobody's gonna spend the time testing and creating a new base to like take advantage of it. So it like really didn't change the base meta. It just changed where you had to go. And C Notes popping in our chat right here telling us about leave the disarmor camp for last, which 100%, or just put a couple Valkyries on it and move on.
Yeah.
So good.
So here's my question. So you could use yeeters and the disarm and everything in your war attacks, right? Like as part of your comp. Do you think in future that Supercell should just restrict their event troops to just farming attacks like outside of Legends? Would that be too difficult to manage for them? I know they've done similar things before, but I really don't see why they should be allowed in War or Legends.
Back in the day, Darian had commented about this, and that this was like when the first time that Lavaloons came out, and they were just like, okay, Yoda might be saying that the disarmers you just put in the corner and you triple and whatever. The original release of Lavaloons was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You literally just hold your finger on your troops and swipe across, and you triple. Like it didn't matter what you did, where you deployed. Nothing. The second version of the Lavaloons was still really strong, but not quite that insane. And Darian was saying like they don't want to release the event troops and limit who can use them, because then it's like they're narrowing who can have fun with the event to a small portion of the player base, which like I understand. And I think before we can really even have any major solution for the event troops, like they have to employ stuff that we've been talking about for months at this point. They need like a Legends hard mode where it's 5600 or 5800 or whatever threshold they determine, where Legends becomes hard mode, and that would be the same place where you would say, okay, once you get to this point, you get a little pop-up in game that says you're now in Legends hard mode. Event troops are off, hard mode is active, and any other stipulations and explainers that they need, like, hey, if you don't know what hard mode is, here's a optional, you can immediately forfeit 200 legend cups so that you're not at there, right?
I like that.
I think that's the solution.
Right? And then you also need a voluntary Legends leave button where you're like, I don't want to be in Legends, drop me to 4,900 cups, and you can just do it immediately, and that's that. Like you're out of Legends, you just because then it's like, hey, there's an event going on. I don't want to push Legends this month, but I'm at 5,400 and nobody, you know what I mean? Like it takes like weeks to get out of Legends at that point. So
I agree.
I don't know how they would like be able to implement something like that though, because you can kind of game that system to where you could stop, like kind of aim your cups right below the threshold. So that next day you're hitting 8 regular mode attacks while you're pushing up into hard mode. So that would give you basically, I mean, a full day's advantage on people that are starting at 5601.
Well, this is what you do, right? The second your cups have pushed over whatever the threshold is, you immediately are into hard mode. So like that's when
Locked in.
it's not
Yeah.
like at
But
the end of the
then-
day.
But then what about the people that are attacking you? Are they going to be hitting your base in hard mode, or are you going to be getting matched with 8 people hitting your base in regular mode? So I
Well-
think they would have to make
well-
it an entirely separate league at 5,000 to sign up for.
I don't think so, right? Like you functionally do the same thing. Like as soon as you hit 5001, right? Until you sign up for Legends, other people can still hit your base and you can get dropped out of Legends, right? The same thing. If you hit 5601 or 5801, people would be able to hit and you could just not do any more attacks, fine. But if you're at reset or if you do another attack, you're instantly signed up for the hard mode. And then whatever remainder you have for the day, like just like if you sign up for Legends at 10 o'clock Eastern, you don't get 8 hits, you get 4 or whatever it is. You get a scaled down number of hits. So if you did 3 hits at the beginning of the day and that pushed you up to hard mode and then you don't sign up until 10 o'clock and you sign up, well, okay, you don't get 8 hits now, you get 2 hits or some formula that means like you only get a certain number of hits for that day. And then on reset, well, now you're in hard mode and you're in hard mode until you finish a day at whatever the threshold is minus 100, right? Like there's a million ways that they could implement it where it would be fair. And it's just something that needs to happen, and they're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with T 100%. I mean, I think that's the solution, right? Because look, people love the event troops, right? I personally don't, right? I'm a purist. I play the game competitively. I don't, but I'm a very small portion of the player base, right? People like me. And what T is suggesting, I think, is really that's the solution if they could make it work, right? Because 99% of the players out there can all go and have fun and get their free triples with the event troop, but there would be an avenue for people like me to push into where I could still continue to play the game competitively while everybody else is running around tripling with this armor. So I think that's the solution.
100%. I know that one of the reasons that they had them going for so long was, I mean, obviously there was a lot of money involved with sponsorships and what have you. So they wanted to get their money's worth, right, out of this collaboration.
Yeah.
And it
Yep.
seems like we'll probably see more collaborations going forward. It seems to have been pretty successful. Is there a particular collaboration that you guys would like to see, Fuzzy?
I'm not going to steal Darth Yoda's thunder on this one, so I'm going to go with Transformers. I would like to see some
Ooh.
Transformers skins and some stuff like that.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Okay, Yoda, give it to us.
It's, obviously Star Wars, right? Like I don't know that they could ever afford the price tag that Disney would put out for that, but I mean, how cool would it be to have a Darth Vader skin on the King or the Warden? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that's like the stuff of dreams for me.
That'd be money in the bank.
$100 for that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. T?
I mean, hey, Boom Beach got SpongeBob, so I mean, I wouldn't put it out of the reach of them getting something with Disney.
You never know.
And didn't Squad Busters get Transformers? And that's Universal, I think,
Yeah.
which is owned by Disney.
This is true.
I mean, like the obvious one is always Star Wars, right? Like that would be cool. Like having a Yoda RC or a Yoda minion, that would be pretty funny to me.
The Leia Queen.
Right. I mean that if you want to sell $1 billion of skins, like we all know the Archer Queen skin that would need to happen. That would yeah, exactly. Like we would all get bankrupted. It's obvious.
Could you imagine Darth Maul King? Oh, that would be so sick.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, like there's just too many. There's too many skin ideas for like it's impossible. But for me, I think the funniest one, like this was not a property that I loved as a kid. I think I was like above the wave where it became popular. But this is another like impossibility. But I think Pokemon would be an amazing pairing with Clash of Clans because there's just so many options, right? There's so many different things that they could do with it, like so many different things that could be skinned, so many different troops. Like imagine if the pets could all be involved. Imagine you had like some sort of evolving Pokemon that was in like the defending base or something like that. Like I don't know, I think there's a lot of stuff they could do.
Do like an Ash Ketchum skin,
right?
And the barbarian puppet spawns like little Pikachu's or
yeah,
like
or
he starts throwing Pokeballs.
Yeah, but see, if you use the Ash Ketchum skin, then you could never win. You would lose every single attack because that's the Ash Ketchum way, you know?
That's true. Until you get that Pikachu plot armor.
Well, I was going to say Marvel, because
Ooh.
I'm partial to
Nah.
the Marvel universe, but
That's
DC.
actually that's good because there's also Marvel Rivals that's happening right now that's like
Mhm.
kind of popular, so that you could do a tie-in with that. I'm sure, like Supercell, you should take Cat's idea. Like that's 100% because you could do like Supercell's properties in Marvel Rivals and then Marvel Rivals stuff in Clash of Clans.
Or with DC, because that's better.
I mean, that's
well,
that's
okay.
debatable.
They're quite really debatable. All right, diving into the May theme because it is May. They have the High Seas theme, and I'm not really sure where this is from, if it's from an anime or whatever, but they gave us and I'm going to say this wrong, Kyoto Queen skin with the gold pass. And there's the High Seas scenery, and we'll be getting the Samurai King, the Cyclone Prince, the Grand Monk for the Warden, and the Royal Ninja for the RC. What do you guys think of this theme?
They might actually get me to buy some skins for the first time in over a year and a half.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, some of these skins are really nice.
Mhm.
MB in Sons of Guns was saying that she never buys the sceneries, but the scenery looks good, and I agree. Like I haven't
Yeah.
bought a scenery since I think Halloween 2023 or something like that, because I'm a sucker for Halloween stuff. But yeah, like this one, it's like it's pretty good, I think. At least the art. I haven't checked out the in-game stuff quite yet, just because I've been busy. But yeah, it looks pretty cool.
I did purchase the scenery this morning.
Ooh, what do you think?
Oh,
What do you like?
It's perfect. It's at the exact right price point. It's got lots of animation to it. I love the color scheme. I found the banana, so it's good. I was wondering, are they going to get rid of the banana? But no, it's there, and I think for someone that I love the look of the legendary sceneries, but there's no way I'm paying $50 for a scenery.
Mhm.
So this is absolutely perfect for someone like me that likes this sort of stuff. What about you, Yoda?
Well, I'm the opposite. I really care less about skins and sceneries. Like T, I haven't purchased any in a very long time. It's I don't know. It's just not what fires first for me when it comes to the game. But what I can tell you is any skin that would make my MP stand out more than he does right now, I would pay big bucks for. And I'm anxious to see this new one in game that came out and see if he does actually stand out. And if he does, I'm going to purchase it. But if not, now they're almost always going to be a hard pass for me. If I'm going to spend money on the game, it's going to be based off of progression. Fuzzy, what do you think?
I like it. I'm not going to get it personally because my wallet's still recovering from the Lunar New Year set that I bought, which I like a lot still. I'm not regretting it very much. I mean, maybe a little bit here and there, but it's still cool. I like zooming out and looking at the moon and stuff. But if they would have made it a Pirates of the Caribbean theme, 100% would have bought it. Every single piece of it.
Oh, that would have been cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I think the price point that they put out for these sceneries is really good.
Yeah. It's got enough animation and enough graphics. It's just any more expensive would be too much, but I think for what they're asking, it's just right.
Did they lower the price on regular sceneries? Didn't they used to be $10 or I guess $9.99 US? Now they're $6.99.
Are they? It's $9.99 Canadian, so.
It depends. I've seen sceneries at $9.99, and then I've seen them at $6.99, which is what this one's at.
Okay, I could have sworn I've seen them at $9.99, so I was just making sure I wasn't tripping.
Yeah, and then they have like the crazy ones, like Kat mentioned, that are $50 or whatever dollars it is.
Yeah, that's Canadian. They everything's expensive there.
It is. Yeah. All right. So another thing that they're hinting, I guess, it's probably the worst kept secret, is the Super Yeti. It's going to be back. Mm-hmm. They promise it'll be less broken. I imagine it's still going to be quite broken. T, what do you think?
I have zero faith that it's not going to be broken. I'm excited for the game to be broken for a second month in a row because this thing is going to be insane. It's going to have to get nerfed at least one or two more times. It's just like fundamentally one of those things where you know, like for years, one of the reasons why I always called Valkyries a bad troop was because the base functionality of the troop was broken. It would walk too far, it couldn't avoid walls, and it had like this weird wonky AI targeting that meant like as you destroyed buildings, it would stop attacking and then like move instead of attacking, right? So there was a bunch of problems with it. Then Root Riders came along and fixed all of that basically, because the Root Riders would target the defenses, the Valkyries would follow along and kill all the extra buildings, and suddenly the Valkyrie is an amazing troop.
Mhm.
And it's like the opposite is true for Super Yetis, because those little Yeti mites are the problem. And it's like, if you just combine that with clones, it's like you have these defense targeting, unkillable, high damage, fast little monsters that blow up a base, and you're like, okay, that's it. how do you balance that in a way that's going to make any sense? So they're gonna have to put like 5 housing space on the Super Yeti Mite, otherwise, like the clone spell is just gonna break the whole game again.
Well, remember they did raise the housing space for Yeti mites, so I think that will help a little bit. And I think it's only going to
Yeah.
be there for like a week or so, or at least like the 12th through the
Mhm.
18th or something like that.
Yeah, and maybe if it's a temporary troop, but I thought that they were saying that it's going to be like an actual super troop moving forward, but maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah.
I hope it does, because I think it's a really cool troop. I just hope it doesn't get implemented as a broken troop.
Yeah. I think it's they're doing like a spotlight on it to introduce it,
Yeah.
and it's probably going to stay unless it
Mhm.
is ridiculously broken and they have an excuse to pull it.
Yeah, I think so. They had the Yeti Mites at 3 housing space, then they buffed them to 1, and then they've nerfed them to 2. So we're still net like buff over where they were previously. But what I'm saying is specifically the Super Yeti Mite has to be like a 5 or 6 housing space. So we'll see.
We shall see. Yoda, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, so the Super Yeti was interesting, right? Because it got accidentally released in the game at the time when we had the update, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what was interesting about it was that people were more engaged with the Super Yeti than any of the rest of the update. So
Oh yeah.
they were more excited for the Super Yeti that was not supposed to be in the game than they were for all of the stuff that was supposed to be in the game. So I thought that was really interesting. And I like it's going to be broken. I mean, that they've been at this for 2 years now with these event troops and limited time troops or whatever. And they're always broken. This thing is going to be broken. The Yeti mice are a problem. I do agree. I think it was Kat that said that she thought it was going to be in the game. I think it is, right? I mean, that's how when it was accidentally released, it was accidentally released as a super troop in the game, right? Like you could see it there. So I think that's what the coding would indicate. I just hope that it's not completely overpowered to where every single person's using it like they were at the Disarmers or when that thing was actually live in the game, a month ago or so, or whatever it was.
Definitely.
Well, the thing that was so game breaking was you could take a level 5 clone spell and just clone the Yeti mites off the Yeti, and then just let the Yeti die and just keep cloning Yeti mites with your max clone spells and just tear up half a base before anything happens. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I mean, it was so broken that people figured out that you could kind of mimic it with the regular Yetis. And like,
Yep.
I think that attack kind of fell out of favor just because it was a little bit inconsistent, or
Mhm.
at least, base dependent, right? But
Well, that nerf to the
Yeah,
Yeti might
yeah.
change that.
yeah, a little
housing
bit. It
space.
was still pretty solid, but it was one of those things where it went from you're going to take out like a third of the base to you're going to take out a quarter. When it's like, if I'm dumping all of my spells and I only get a quarter of the base, and then I have to like try to come up with some spell-less version of an attack to like finish it, it wasn't as like valuable, right?
Well, if you think about it, it's kind of like a RC charge just with a Yeti instead.
Yeah,
'Cause, I mean,
kind of.
you used all your spell slot and one
Mhm.
troop, but you still had your RC at the end of this one instead.
Yeah. That's why I think like if it was a little more controllable, like the Yeti mites kind of have a mind of their own, and sometimes you have this thing where like a bunch of Yeti mites target the same building and massively overkill it, and like that's a problem. So like it was like the floor of the attack was too low that even though the ceiling of that attack was like sky high, whereas like I think with the RC charge, it's like kind of the opposite, right? Like the ceiling of the RC charge is medium high, but the floor of it is also medium high. It's like it's pretty hard to do an RC charge and get like no value out of it,
Oh, you should watch me.
I mean, listen, I'm assuming some base level of practice involved, not just the first time you ever do the attack, you know?
YOLO is my
there's
middle
been
name.
months of practice, buddy. I'll still get no value.
All right, guys. We have a lot of questions from our audience that were submitted over the last week. So
Mhm.
I want to run through some of these. Baders asked, what do you do for fun outside of Clash? Fuzzy?
We covered some of that, right?
We did,
Yeah,
but we'll cover it a little bit again.
Yeah, so outside of Clash, pretty much most of my time is taken up with work and school. So what I do for fun is I'll play some golf on the weekends and go to the gym, and I have my soccer on the weekends. That's pretty much all my free time. So that's when the fun stuff happens. But yeah, for the most part, that's what all my time's taken up with.
Yoda?
Yeah, so like we talked about, Kat, like I lead a pretty boring life, and I also play way too much Clash. So I play the game probably 3 hours a day, which I know would seem excessive, but we talked about this on another podcast, but I don't watch TV. What I do to relax is I play Clash. So that takes up most of my time. But if it was something I had to pick that was completely unclash related, it would definitely be motorcycles. I've been a biker my entire life, and I've had a passion for motorcycles since I was a little kid, and it continues to this day.
Awesome. T?
I am a man of many hobbies.
I don't know where you find time.
Again, the magic of ADHD, right, is that you find little pockets and then you hyper focus and you get a bunch done. So wintertime I snowboard. Summertime I'm mostly lifting weights. I've been playing a bunch of board games. Like I have 2 weekly nights where I play with friends. So I'm playing Frosthaven with one group, and then I just finished a campaign game with a friend of mine, and we're starting a new insane board game called Aeon Trespass Odyssey, which is like the craziest board game of all time, except maybe a couple others are equally as insane. And then I've been trying to get back into cycling. I used to do a lot of long distance, multi-hour cycling trips when I was in my 20s, and then I had some health stuff, and I've struggled to get back to it. So I've been doing the 5 mile. Oh man, I can't even speak. The 5 borough bike ride. There we go. Every year since pretty much COVID happened. And so that's kind of like my little cardio thing, but I like to get back onto like longer bike tours and stuff. That's always really fun, but difficult. And then I do D&D every week, at least once, sometimes twice. So I got a lot of little hobbies. I'm also writing a book, but that's a process. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah,
crazy.
Well, what about you, Kat? What are you up to?
Well, nothing compared to you. I read, and in the spring and summer, I like to garden and just enjoy outdoors, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Do you garden like for flowers and plants, or do you garden for stuff to like cook with?
A little bit of both. I have a very small yard, so I have limited space, but I do like to squeeze in some vegetable plants like tomatoes, and every once in a while I'll try something exotic like watermelon or something, but it's never very successful.
Not much of a growing season in Canada. You got like from July 4th to July 7th, and that's about it.
Pretty much. It's and it never really gets hot enough here for some of those plants. So like peppers and watermelon, that sort of stuff. It's not too successful here. So, but I try. All right. Oh my Gyarados. And I know I butchered that.
Gyarados.
Gyarados. It's a Pokemon.
Okay. Okay. Asks, if you could have one of the pets from Clash of Clans in real life, which one would it be? T?
Obvious, the Phoenix. Come on. What do you mean? I could die and come back to life? Yes, that one.
Okay, but you only get 9 seconds of life when you come back to life.
That's better
you
than
don't
0.
Get the Phoenix, you just get the egg the whole time.
I'm just saying.
Around with his egg.
Also, are we the size of like the heroes in comparison, or are we like the size of the troops in comparison? Because if I'm the size of like a barbarian, I could ride the Phoenix like it's a dragon, which would be sick.
Mm-hmm. That was not mentioned.
Lassie, I feel like gets no love, and I love dogs, so I would take Lassie personally.
Oh, you're a sweetie.
Yoda?
For me, I think it would definitely be the unicorn, because I feel like it would bring me good luck.
Mine also is the unicorn. I like horses, so
I think the fox would be cool, but it would just
Yeah.
disappear every 4 seconds, and you'd
And
only
you
have
would
it half the
disappear
time.
too.
That's
See, the moral issues of having an on-tap invisibility is why I did not say the spirit fox, because that's questionable. But like also the owl is just cute, and he would just zap things. Like that'd be a fun pet to have.
what could you do with 4 seconds of invisibility every 10 seconds?
Pickpockets.
I could think of a lot of
and then
things.
get caught because
Yeah.
you turn invisible all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
you turn invisible as soon as you get the stuff.
Okay.
But then you
Listen,
have 6 seconds to get away, and you're invisible again. So
You go to the subway in New York City and think about how many times you could just get on and off the subway train and just pick a pocket every single time. Easy.
that's true.
I think you put way too much thought into this.
Yeah, I was gonna say that went off the rails.
Okay. Drac has a question for Fuzzy. What inspired you to create a warlord role in the Rated, and why did you choose a nerd like Drac?
This one is actually inspired by how DY runs Sons of Guns, giving co-leaders different roles. And when I became the leader, a lot of the co's were busy with other things, so they couldn't really contribute as much time as they would like to. So I needed some help, and Drac was, he was just perfect for it because we thought we have the same mindset when it comes to war, and it's easy to just bounce ideas off of him because it was basically like talking to myself. So that's how that happened.
Awesome. Okay. Magnus has a question for T. You have a large strategic rush community in the CFF server that comes to you every single day for guidance and advice, hence the don't tag T rule. What is the one piece of advice you would give someone new to strategic rushing? And please note, we only have an hour.
Obviously the first piece of advice is to just read the beginning part of the guide as many times as it takes to internalize those little bits, because like that's really all you need to know. But the one thing that I would say to a new player is that there is no such thing as bricking your account. You can't break it. So whether you think that you rushed too far or you didn't rush enough, there's no such thing as your account is now broken. You can always recover. You can always rush faster. You can always fix it. So just don't stress so much. Don't worry. You're going to be okay. The game doesn't delete progress because you did something wrong. It's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. Just play and you'll be fine. You'll do great. And
that's great advice.
And just ping T for any questions.
No, do not ping T for questions.
Please do not. Please. I tell people, so the whole reason why I have this is because I'm scarred from our previous clan family, not because the clan family did anything wrong, but I was helping with recruitment and tournament organization, and I would get pinged 1,000 times a day, and it made it so that I couldn't use Discord for other stuff. I use Discord for talking with friends and talking with other games that I play, and I use Discord a lot, and I only have one account. I don't want a second one, so please just help me keep my Discord account usable. That's all I'm asking.
C-Note wants to know for Fuzzy, how were you able to keep the shenanigans going knowing that C-Note was the mutant possum all along?
I don't think we know that C-Note was the mutant possum. He just admitted to it. He might be taking the fall for someone else. I'm still not entirely sure that case is closed, to be honest with you.
So what you're saying is that you're the mutant possum after all.
I am not the mutant possum, but there are multiple mutant possums out there, so we don't know which one actually got revealed. C-Note might just be an imposter. Might be the fall guy.
All right. Wizard Gamer 49 has a question for T. T, how long did you use the disabler? I think he meant the disarmor army that I built for you and you 3-starred with. And why is it the best army comp to come out of SOG?
I used it all month. So that's that. Whether or not it's the best army comp to come out of SOG, I have no idea. I didn't look at any others because it was the first one that I got and it worked. So I did not do any additional investigation. I was like, hey, I got a thing that works. And until it doesn't work, I'm going to keep using it. And it never didn't work. So there you go.
There you go. All right. YRM asks, can you tell us something about the history of the CFF? So we went to the Omnipotent Fox and she gave us a brief history. And I know that she's been on the pod previously and she went into it a little bit more in depth there. So But basically, CFF history actually starts way back in 2014 when many of us were part of the Clash of Clans podcast family of clans, which included the hosts Scotty827 and Boneyard. There was the House of L, House of Zod, Kent Farmhouse, and Phantom Zone, while remaining very good friends with Scotty and Boneyard in June 2015. Kent Farmhouse leads Natalia R. Cooper Katie, Rancid Meat, and Hal started their own take on a Clash of Clans podcast called The Clash Files. And a fun fact for those who remember it, Rigoletto's Bye Forever podcast also sprung from the OG Clash of Clans podcast too. At first, the CFF clans were Kent Farmhouse, which continued to be run by Nat and Coop, and Phantom Zone, which was run by Natalia's husband Bryce and then later Chuck. But as the Clash Files podcast grew, so did the need for clans. First came K Farmhouse 2.0, which was run by Ran and Fox. And then Noble Hero joined the family, and that was run by Hal and currently Tony. The CFF has continued to change and grow since then, adding podcasts and clans, including the long-running KGH podcast, which was hosted by Fish and Chips and Sids, among others. And, so many clans now, SOG, Redthorn, the list goes on and on. A couple of exciting and fun facts. The CFF has 2 big birthdays this year. The Clash Files turns 10 on June 21st, and it's the 10th anniversary of the pilot episode of the original CFF podcast. And the Clash Files Discord 10th birthday is in October. So congratulations. Yay.
Yay. Great stuff.
So that's a brief history. Let's see. Hawkeye from Redthorn asks, what are your greatest Clash accomplishments and future goals? Well, that could take hours. Fuzzy.
All right. So some of my biggest Clash accomplishments, personally, you can see them on my profile. I've got the top 5,000 ranking from a couple months ago, and my personal best is over 6,200. So I'm pretty proud of those numbers. But my biggest and most proud accomplishment is definitely getting the rated to Champs 1. It was a team effort, and I'm super proud of the guys. And even if we demote or maintain or whatever happens to us this month, I'm still super proud of us for getting there. And I couldn't have done it without my team. It was awesome.
Well said. Yoda?
All right. So I would say that if you guys remember back at the heyday of Town Hall 15, right, when the game was probably at its most difficult that it had ever been, or at least super close to it, right? Well, during that time, and this is actually going to be pretty close to what Fuzzy said, but during that time, SOG actually made it to Champs 1 for the first time ever, when it was the most difficult to do so. And I just remember like Fuzzy just said, that feeling that you get of accomplishment. And for me as the leader back then, to see how excited everybody was to achieve that and how everybody was scoreboard watching right up until the very end. I mean, that was just something that will stick with me forever. So I think that's definitely up there. And then that same year, we were running an esports team straight out of SOG, and we actually made it to stage 2 in the Worlds. And back then, it was extremely difficult to do. And again, we were playing under conditions with Town Hall 15 being very, very difficult. So those 2 things I think were probably my greatest accomplishments that I remember the most. As far as the future for me, I have pretty much accomplished everything that I have wanted to in the game, aside from one thing, and that's to finish in the top 1,000 in Legends League. Everybody in the audience, you guys all know me very well, and Legends is my favorite part of the game. I love it. It's what I spend those 2 to 3 hours a night doing every single evening. And I would love to finish in the top 1,000. So far, I have not gotten super close. My highest finish I have is like around 4,000 in the world. So yeah, that would be something that's kind of the last thing I think I need to accomplish, and I would have done everything I set out to do.
Awesome. T?
I think my greatest accomplishment is promoting Darth Yoda to the leader of Sons of Guns. It's the greatest decision that I've ever made. It's probably the reason why I'm still playing. I was like running everything by myself for a while. A bunch of the original Sons of Guns guys quit kind of around the same time period. The like post-pandemic period, we had a bunch of people that were active, and then the restrictions kind of came off, and that was probably like the closest that the family has ever come to, not necessarily like completely not failing, but like we almost like condensed down to just one clan. And then we found a couple people. Yoda was like a big component of that, and we kind of like rebuilt a new team post pandemic of people that were playing, and that's seeing everybody. Like when I first joined Sons of Guns back in 2019, they had just lost Champs 1 like a couple months before. And then we never got back there until Yoda brought us there. So like in terms of in-game stuff, like that's it. That's the one. I found the guy that's the right man for the job, who's like, we went from a clan that had what I would call a higher than average amount of drama, but not like an insane amount of drama, to a clan like we don't have drama because like Yoda doesn't allow it to happen. And for someone like me who I just don't want to deal with that kind of thing, that's perfect. And like Yoda mentioned before, I run our CWL league and I have no problem doing it, even though it is a lot of work and a lot of babysitting and herding cats. I don't mind because I don't deal with the drama part of it. Yoda does. And so like that's the thing. In terms of like more personally, I think like the best feeling I got for my personal accomplishments was getting the best guide of Reddit 2023, because I felt like in 2019 I don't think you could have written a rush guide that would have gotten to that point. Maybe because Cool Rick, the moderator there, is a good guy who understands like the game very well, and he was always not necessarily pro rushing, but at the very least not like anti-rushing. And so anytime I had issues with my post, like he was always helpful in pinning it and blocking people that were being abusive or aggressive or anything like that. And so it was just like, it was crazy to me that over the course of the 4 years that I was playing, that we went from, if you posted your base and you had like 2 town hall levels below on one of your buildings, people like, oh, you're a dirty rusher. Oh, you're a dirty rusher. You're not playing the game right. You're breaking your account. To like now, I think probably it's split 50-50 of people who are strategic rushers and people who are maxers. And it's just like, I don't think I had everything to do with that, but I definitely think I did something. It was a non-zero effect. And so that I'm pretty proud of.
Awesome.
What about you, Kat?
For me, gosh, there's so many highlights over the years. Probably the pivotal thing for me would have been when Hollow Graves imploded and we were all sort of cast to the Clash of Clans high seas, as it were. With the help of a number of people, managed to gather everybody back together, and we were given Redthorn by my good friend Annie Joe, and we just continued to build the clan community there, and like T says, keep the drama out, and then managed to nurse the raided along until I was lucky enough to have Fuzzy join us and had the foresight to make him the leader there. And so they're doing great things, and just continuing to do bigger and better things there. And yeah, that's probably my greatest accomplishment, just kind of holding things together so other people can do their thing and have fun. So, and that's what I want to continue to do.
I'm like Kat's Darth Yoda.
You are. You're my spirit
Everybody needs
animal.
a Darth Yoda.
Okay. Devil from LNG has a question for Yoda. And Yoda, I know you've been waiting for this question.
Oh yeah.
What's
Let me
the
have it.
story
What's the
behind the whole fart Yoda emoji and shtick?
Okay. All right. So for those that don't know, apparently there's a code that you can type in the CFF Discord server that's going to produce farting Yoda. I honestly do not know who built the code. I'm guessing it was probably Fox, but I will tell you how the whole thing started briefly. So as you guys know, I am a bit of a gambler, and I don't mind making friendly wagers with my various friends in the game, and bets and things like that. And I had made a bet with Congressman Cool Rick, who's become a good friend of mine over the last couple of years. He is the co-host of another amazing podcast, Reddit Talks Clash. And so we had a bet. And that bet was whoever could climb the highest in Legends League trophies that month would win. And the person who lost was going to have to run a progress base by the whatever the winner chose. So that was kind of the deal. So I, like a lot of my bets, I ended up losing. And he created a base for me, a progress base that said Fart Yoda, which which was really funny. And I had to run this thing, so everybody, I'm very fortunate. I've got a lot of friends, and everybody saw this base, and everybody gave me crap about it, and that's how it started. And I'm probably already bracing myself now for all of the pings I'm going to get with people that probably weren't even aware that that emoji exists that you could do the bot command for. But now that I'm sure that thing's going to be popping off. So yeah, that's how it happened.
That's a fun story. All right. Question from Drac. What is your most eye-rolling leadership experience? Fuzzy?
Oh gosh, I mean, do I go with the easy one and just say CWL signups, or do I
Yeah.
need to be more specific?
Yeah.
I mean, because
Yeah.
that one's every single month.
Mhm.
Every single month.
And no matter how many pings, you could ping people every single day, and you will
Mhm.
still have people saying, "Oh, I missed it. I don't know how I didn't see it." It's like, dude, I've pinged like 10 times about it.
Mhm.
Cat's pinged so many times about it. That's got to be absolutely the most eye rolling experience.
Yoda?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, Fuzzy, because my new segment, the DY Old Lord of the Week, it wasn't it was done on purpose. That the person that earned it this week was because of CWL. So yeah, that's a big problem. So for me, I'm not going to mention any names. I know the three of you are going to probably know who I'm talking about, and maybe some of the people in the audience will as well. But we used to have a member in SOG who was no longer a member in SOG, but continued to hang around the CFF server for a really long time. And this individual would get into some of the most craziest arguments with people. T, probably the number one person.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yep.
and every single time I would pop on the Discord and I would see like 200 messages in like class chat, and I would look and I would see this one person's name, and I would just roll my eyes. I'm like, this is just crazy. I wouldn't bother to read through any of it, but every single time this person would start something, I just had to roll my eyes. It really was it was some wild stuff, man.
I felt like I had a stroke every time I was reading his messages with all the typos.
Yep.
Yes, I do remember that. T?
Mhm. Man, there's a lot. I think the one that gives me the 1,000-yard stare of just like, how does this happen? It's got to be CWL. Like I here's my third message of April. It says, "Oi, time to effing
Boy.
sign up for CWL. Do it now, not later. Scroll up for instructions," which I made a whole document with screenshots of how you sign up, which, like, by the way, it's you put your name and your town hall number, and that's it. That's the sign up. It's not hard. And then I said with timestamps of when it closes, and I said, stop procrastinating. And I ping everybody. And like I every time I post, I'm like, am I being too aggressive? And then every time signups close and somebody tries to sign up like afterwards, and I'm like, nope, next month is gonna be more aggressive. I started a list called the dummies list of people who can't listen to just basic instructions. And this month I had 15 people on the dummies
Oh my
list.
gosh.
And again, I need to remind you, you need 2 pieces of information: the name that you want to get pinged on Discord and your town hall number. And like, that's it. How do you
Yeah.
mess it up? I don't get it. It's, as you could probably tell from the tone of my voice and the volume that I'm speaking with, it is something that drives me insane.
Well, I think for anybody who tries to organize CWL for their clans, and I mean, a lot of us have multiple clans that we're doing this for, not just one, but there could be 3, 4, 5, and there could be, I know for Redthorn, we often take in accounts from Phoenix Reloaded because we run out of Kent Greenhouse, CWL for lower town halls. But it's just, you're right. It's the one thing that I dread, and I can't figure out how to make it any easier for people. You put out clan mails and you pin things in game and you tag people in Discord, and it's the same every month, and it's the same people every single month.
I have the quote unquote luxury of having like different people mess it up every month. Like we have like a couple guys that like always mess up every month, but like this month I had 15. That's all like new people that just didn't
Mhm.
follow instructions. And yeah, like we organize for anywhere between 100 and 120 accounts every month. And like this month we're running 5 clans, I think, or we did 4, but it's 3 are running 17 person and 2 30-person rosters, and it's just like, do you want to be included in this thing or not? That's like I used to be so much more forgiving when somebody came up and was like, oh,
Yeah.
I forgot to sign up, and I'd be like, all right, go here, we'll fit you in somehow. And now I'm like, guess what? You get bench. None. No more.
Yeah, I'm not quite there, but I'm getting close. All right. Drac also wants to know what has been the funniest request you have gotten as a leader. T, let's start with you.
I don't. This is one of those things that like I've farmed off to Yoda for so long, and I've found out recently that people are afraid of me, which I feel really bad about. But also, it's like my DMs are clean, so I don't mind.
Don't feel bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't even remember anymore. I don't like people would just always ask me to like get them into rosters.
Mhm.
And so like that was like mostly what people were reaching out to me for. And now they know like if you do that, I might block you. I might remove your roles to Sons of Guns for a day or two. Like don't DM me. Is like the general rule of thumb, and people are pretty good about dealing with that. So for me, like I farmed that out to Yoda and let him deal with all of that. So I got nothing. The only complaint I have right now is CWL related. So we already did that.
All right, Yoda.
Well, I've had a number of funny requests that have come across to me. I think the one that sticks out the most here is probably we had a guy in the Sons of Guns, and he's still there, and I'm not going to mention any names, but he used some pretty bad language in our chat, like stuff that would not be acceptable. And listen, we have very thick skin in the Sons of Guns. Like we let our people pretty much say whatever they want as long as they're respectful. But this guy used some words that you in today's society you just don't use. So he gets his account banned, his account locked by Supercell. Okay. So then he comes to me and asks me to go to, I've got contacts, just like all of us do, and have his account become unlocked. I'm like, dude, you're a moron for one for using that language, and two, what on earth? Why on earth would you ever think that I would go and do that based off of the things that you had said to get your account banned? And I'm going to go use and pull favors to unban your account when you were the one that was completely in the. So that was probably the funniest one because I couldn't believe somebody would have the guts to ask that of me after that.
Unreal. Fuzzy?
Yeah, so the one I would think of, or at least the one I can think of right now that's fun, it was funny for me, but probably not as funny for the person that requested it. Last CWL, I had a guy that was kind of struggling. I think he messed up maybe 2 hits in a row or something. So he messaged me and said, hey, take my account out. I don't want to, I want to sit out the rest of the wars. So I said, all right. I took his account out and I put his alt in. So to me, if you're struggling, sitting out is not the best thing. I think you should. It's just going to hurt your confidence more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I want you to just keep swinging because even in baseball, like the best hitters were hitting it 1 out of every 3 times at best. I mean, those are Hall of Fame players. So you're not expected to be perfect. If you mess up a couple times, I don't want you to lose your confidence thinking you're going to get benched. Just keep swinging. So that's probably my most recent funny request.
Yeah, and you guys made it to champs 1 that month. So
Exactly.
There you go.
it's the right decision. Yeah.
Thinking back on for myself, you often get just random people requesting to join the clan, and you just hit reject.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was this one guy. He would request like without fail, like at least once a week to join Redthorn, and he would come up with these really creative join requests, and it's like, finally we decided to accept him because we wanted to. You admire that kind of determination and dedication, right? So we accepted him. And then he didn't say anything. What? Waited and waited. We're like, hey, welcome, blah, blah, blah. And kept waiting for him to respond. And he never did. So we kicked him.
That's so silly.
And he's disappeared. So I don't know. But yeah, it was a source of amusement. And we kind of miss him. So Harsh, if you're out there. we miss you.
Request again for a couple months, and then maybe they'll let you in.
Exactly. But this time you have to talk to us. All right. Another question from Drac. If you were stranded on a desert island, which hero would you want with you? Fuzzy?
I think the RC would probably be best at hunting. That would help. But I mean, the warden, couldn't you just fly off the island with the warden?
I think he's got limited range.
He would just follow you, and since you can't fly, he would just stay right where
That's true. So we would just end up drowning. Probably the RC then. I think she'd be the best for hunting and getting supplies.
Yoda?
Well, my brain went in the same exact direction as Fuzzy. I mean, it would definitely come down between the RC and the Archer Queen because, well, if I'm stranded on a desert island, I like females. I'd rather it be a female. and my mind went in the same exact direction as Fuzzy. Which one would be the better hunter? Because that's the one that I would pick. And although I think the RC would be good, I actually disagree with Fuzzy, and I think the bow and arrow would be the better choice for hunting on a deserted island. So I went with
My
the
whole
Archer
thought
Queen.
process was we'd be fishing instead of maybe hunting big game. So that spear do some spear fishing, you know.
It would. Obviously, I don't like seafood, so maybe that's why our minds drifted apart on that one.
More for me.
All right, T.
You guys missed the obvious one. The Minion Prince. He actually can fly.
Yes.
That's how you leave the island. No, if I have to engage with the actual process of the question, you gotta go Barbarian King, man. He's huge. He could build shelters. He could dig things. He could he's like the big dad. Like he's gonna do all the things for you. You're just gonna get to chill on the beach, and he's gonna like grill the food, and you don't have to do anything. That's the life.
He could bludgeon things to death. Yeah.
Yeah, he's huge. He's like the size of a building.
Well,
What
now,
about
I
you,
was
Kat?
going to say the Archer Queen, but now I'm thinking maybe the Barbarian King might be better. All right. Magnus wants to know, do you have any predictions for Clashiversary this year? Because that will be hitting us later this summer. I think for me, it's a little bit too early to predict anything, but what about you guys? T?
Oh man, well, what did they do last year? Who remembers what Clashiversary was last year?
I only remember.
I don't remember. I don't remember either. Yeah, I don't remember.
I think it was less than stellar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Was it the mechas?
Yeah, I think so. It's funny to me because the first year that I played in 2019, the Clashiversary event was so good. We got 17 builder potions from Gold Pass, and it was like the craziest thing on the planet because you have to keep using them. And I pretty much torched through all of Town Hall 9 and 10 in a month. And like that was like crazy. And then every month since, it's like, oh, we got a new cake. So I predict a new cake. I think the cake is going to be lame because they've been lame
Excellent.
so far.
Oh, I love the
Excellent
cake.
visionary prediction. A new cake.
I know, right? A new cake.
I collected
have
my
all of
Christmas
them.
trees.
Yeah, I have all since the I started. They're in every one of my accounts. They're all there. But
Yeah. Yoda, got any words of wisdom?
Not really. I mean, is this a milestone year? I don't even know what year the anniversary is. What do you guys know?
13?
13,
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So like unlucky
So-
13. Yeah,
Class
there's not.
teenager.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that they come up with so many events now that I'm just numb to it, right? Like
Mhm.
I completely forgot there even was a Clashiversary until I saw this question come up. To be honest, because I'm just so completely numb with all the events that have been happening. Like to T's point, used to feel really special, right, when this thing would come around. But when we're doing events every single month, these big blowout deals, I just think that it loses a little bit of its originality and it being a little bit more special. So unfortunately I don't think I think it's going to be underwhelming or on par with the last couple of years.
Yeah. Fuzzy?
I mean, I honestly, for the anniversaries, I just look forward to the cakes. I like collecting those, like the Christmas trees, like I said, and I don't really care if they have event troops or not. It won't really bother me.
Yeah. I think it would be nice instead of having multiple separate events, maybe do one big event for, Clashiversary, like consolidate something and make it more special. Like, it's probably too late because they probably have this all planned out already, but
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a month-long broken event troop thing that messes everything up.
likely. the super duper Yeti.
listen, Supercell, if you are listening, just put ore in the event and everyone will be happy. It doesn't matter what the
Exactly.
event is. If you have ore in it, everyone will be happy. Please.
And it's got to be starry ore.
Yeah.
And don't put spending troops in army camps.
Right. I'm gonna just keep everywhere I can, just subliminal messaging, and hopefully eventually reach somebody at Supercell to be like, just put ore in the events.
Just
And
do
they're
it.
gonna they're gonna do it.
Just tell Yoda to do it. He's got the connects.
Yeah,
He does,
exactly.
apparently, yeah.
Right.
All right. Another question from Magnus. If Supercell closed down Clash of Clans, what would you do? Fuzzy?
I guess I'd have a life or touch some grass or something. I don't know. I don't really know what I would do. Maybe play some Squad Busters.
There you go. Yoda?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's such a big part of what I do. It's tough for me to envision a world where I'm not involved in this community, and I'm not the leader of the Sons of Guns, and I'm not doing my 16 Legends hits a day. It's tough to imagine like what that would look like if that weren't there. But I guess I would probably just find another game because I've been a bit of video gamer my whole life, so I'd probably just move on to something else, I suppose.
T?
I would suddenly have a usable Reddit account again. No, I'd be really sad. I love the community. I really do like talking Clash in general. So as much as like I am a bit of a stickler for not pinging me, I really enjoy talking to people about rushing and how to optimize playing. And this game has brought a lot of enjoyment and friends and it's just like fun, right? Like I don't have to play. The thing that I love the most about Clash is that I could play it for a couple hours like Yoda, or I could play it for 0 hours, and just like anything in between is fine,
Mhm.
And it's like the Discord for CFF is probably where I spend. I think almost certainly I spend more time on the CFF Discord than I do in game. So like if Clash died, I would try to get CFF to play another game. I don't know if I could. I don't know what game it would be, but I would like try to get everybody to play like I don't know, maybe Brawl Stars, like something. Some other game that we could like keep the community together, because that's the thing I would miss the most is I've played other games before where when they close down, I've like tried to keep those friendships alive, and like with really close ones I've managed it. But a lot of times, like you lose a lot of those, secondary or third level friendships where it's like, hey, I knew this person and like we had pleasant conversations, but like the game closed down and now we never talk anymore. And like that's
Yeah.
always kind of sad,
Definitely. Yeah. I think I feel the same way. Clash has been such a huge part of my life for over 10 years. It's kind of
Yeah.
scary to say. But the friendships and relationships that you build because of the game, via Discord or whatever, doing the podcast, I've had different co-hosts, and it's, I would really miss that. And I'd like to think that those friendships would continue, hopefully playing another game or just, getting together in Discord to chat every day. So hopefully that doesn't happen for quite a while.
Yeah.
Forever.
Forever. Magnus had a lot of questions one day, so we're just going to keep rolling with Magnus questions. What super troops do you think will come after the Super Yeti? Is there a specific one that you'd like to see?
All right, rapid fire. Yoda, what do you got?
I'm gonna say Super Healer. I think that would be really cool.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
Okay, Fuzzy, rapid fire.
I was actually going to go with the Super Healer, but I'm going to pivot and say Super Dragon Rider. Whenever it gets destroyed, it like splits off into two, maybe it bombs into something kind of like the hero on the builder base, and then after that the skeleton gets out and starts destroying stuff or distracting.
Okay.
Sign me up. That sounds awesome.
I actually do like that idea that like the rider hops down and starts doing things. That's actually very funny. I gotta go with the E-Drag. We need a super E-Drag. Like, come on, it's the best troop in the game. Like, I love the stupid E-Drag. Like, everybody hates on it. I got so much shit for recommending people upgrade the E-Drag, even though it was like efficient and optimal. Give me a super E-Drag. I will never use another troop. I will just use the super E-Drag.
Hey, people
right.
hate on E-Drags, but there was someone using them in the finals last year, and he was tearing stuff up with them.
Dude, they're good. It's totally a base ID thing, and the fact that like the floor on a E-Drag attack is in the basement, like it's super possible to just not get any stars at all with E-Drag. So like, I get why there's a stigma against them, but they're good. They're fun. They're big blue lightning dragons. Like, how do people not love them? They're the greatest troop.
I don't like them. But, super troop for me would be the golem. I want like a mountain golem, like over in Clan Capital.
Oh,
Not
that'd
a
be
version of Super Barb.
That'd be awesome.
That would be
Just
pretty funny.
walks through the entire base and wrecks everything. That's what I want. I don't care how many
100,000 hit
housing
points.
space. Yeah, it could be 100 housing space. I don't care. I want it.
Imagine,
All right.
imagine a 300 housing space golem.
And it just wrecks the entire base. Yeah, do
Yeah.
it. Make it happen. All right, last question. Jaeger wants to know if Supercell could implement a buyback system for ores on equipment and the changing meta. What do you think it would look like?
I was gonna say, I think it's kind of gonna be like something where you get like half or 2/3 of the ore you spent on something back. I don't think they'd ever give you a full refund.
Yeah.
Yoda?
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it happening at all. No. I'm curious to hear T's thought on it though. What do you got, T?
So I think one of the only things that they could do is when they nerf an equipment, maybe they give some kind of like package of ore to people that had it maxed. Outside of that, I don't think they'll ever implement that. I just don't. It'd be like saying that, we're gonna get resources back for our supercharges when the superchargers go away. Like it's not gonna happen, unfortunately. I don't think.
I agree. All right. We have made it to an hour and a half. So it's time for some shout outs. Fuzzy, do you have any shout outs?
All right, now that we're wrapping up part one, yeah, I'd like to shout out you and T for having me on the pod. It's always a pleasure to come on Pineapples and Thorns. I consider this the gold standard when it comes to Clash Pod, so it's always fun being on. And I'd like to shout out everybody in the rated, whether you're in the CWL lineup or not. No matter what, I still love you all, and you all play a big part in our success as a clan. And shout out Yoda for coming over and helping us out this week.
All right, Yoda.
All right. So first, I just want to thank Kat, you, and T for being brave enough to have me and Fuzzy on the same episode with four of us. We actually, we're right at an hour and a half, which I didn't think that we were gonna be able to hold that line, but we did. So thank you so much for having me on first and foremost. I want to thank GFFT and Cook from the Brits. They are both over they're both really, really good players, and they're over in SOG this month to help us push back into Champs 1. So I really appreciate those two coming over. I want to give a shout out to MB. She recently got promoted to leader of Loot and Grind in SOG. So big congratulations out to MB. She has been a member of my leadership team for a long time and is a big contributor to our success. So congratulations, MB. And then I want to give a shout out just to, all the people that come over to SOG every single month, whether it be for our 1v1 or our EOS. It's just, it's one of the things that I'm the most proud of when it comes to being a leader of our little clan family is just the amount of relationships that we have out there and people always coming over to support us. So big, you guys all know who you are. It'd be way too many people to call out specifically, but you guys know who you are. And then lastly, hey, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the audience. I think we got up to almost 20 people at one point during the podcast. And, I'm looking at all of the names here and, I know virtually all of you guys, and I really appreciate you coming and hanging out.
Awesome. T?
Yeah, like echo a lot of what Yoda and Fuzzy said. Thanks to everybody who's listening, who listens to the episodes and pings us. Kat, you're always organizing all this stuff and doing all of the actual work required to make the podcast. So I'm happy to just hop on and talk. I do want to shout out our non Sons of Guns clans. So Loot and Grind and Hanshot First are our feeder clans. And last month they both promoted. And for the first time ever, we have Sons of Guns in Champs 2, Loot and Grind in Champs 2, and Hanshot First in Champs 3. So we have more than 45 accounts in Champs this month, which is crazy. And for a very long time, I always thought it'd be very funny if Loot and Grind managed to get to Champs 1 before Sons of Guns. Obviously, it didn't happen. Sons of Guns has been there, but I do think it would be funny if they promoted this month and Sons of Guns didn't. Just the vagaries of rosters and lineups and all that kind of stuff means it's fairly unpredictable. But we've been crushing it. We have a bunch of people coming up that are rushing. I also want to shout out MB for finally listening to me and rushing one of her accounts, who already has tripled 2 town halls up this CWL or 1 town hall up. Like she did an up hit and tripled. So I'm right about this stuff. There's a reason people listen to me about some of it. But yeah, so just want to shout out all the people that are just crushing it in our feeder clans and engaging in the Discord and always shouting out Fox for always being on the ball with anything that we need in the Discord and also making the fart Yoda emoji. So
Excellent. All right. Well, I'm going to shout out all of you guys for agreeing to come on this and being brave enough to to show up today. And also, thank you so much for keeping it to an hour and a half. Much appreciated. Mama Sids will be so grateful. Also, a big shout out to our live audience today. Appreciate you guys for supporting us, listening to us ramble. I also want to wish a very happy birthday on May 4th, which is tomorrow, to the one and only Fox. She's in the audience there. There wouldn't be a CFF without you. And a big happy birthday to Whip, the leader of Phoenix Reloaded, on Monday, May 5th. He's a great leader, and you won't find a kinder, better friend than him. So happy birthday to you both. And that's it from us. The CFF is a family of clans who love to play various games such as Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, and others. You can send questions or comments to us on Twitter at RedthornCOC. To get more information on our clans, events, and podcasts, join the CFF Discord at discord.gg/clashfiles.
Dear Clash Gods, I confess my emotions have been a mess. Cause you changed everything we ever knew. From witches to poison and the Queen Walk too.